Hi and welcome to another review from Class 47 Peter, and this time this is the item I've been expecting because today, on exactly the same day, I received a parcel from Royal Mail. I thought it was what I was waiting for, which is a new model, which is the subject of today's review. However, it wasn't. It was, of all things, a bag of toffees, which I didn't order, somebody else did, and it was in a very similar box that was the shape to this, and I was slightly annoyed. But then minutes later the courier turns up at the door with this, and this time it definitely is the new model. You don't know what it is yet. Well, on camera you can't see it because it's still in this parcel that we'll be opening up in this video, because I've not done this for a while and I thought, well, why not do it again? I've done it before, but I do take pictures of these parcels on Twitter before I open them up. More often than not, I'm doing it in videos. You will know about this on Twitter, because I did tweet about it. Because the first parcel that came by Royal Mail, I thought it was this model, but it wasn't. It was the bag of toffees. Why it came in the box, I have no idea. Let alone one that's like this. And it was the same weight of a train, so you would have thought it was. But it wasn't. But then the courier turns up at the door with this. So, you know, just my luck really. But it's arrived, so I'm pleased about that. So anyway, let's get this open. So we'll have to open it like this. Right, sorry about that, and I got interrupted off camera. Okay, so there we go, that flap's opening. And there it is, as you can see. Now you can see it's made by Heljan, which is good. It's nice to get something other than just Hornby and Batman, because I haven't got a Heljan model for a while. My subscribers of the channel, or should I say fans, will know and will remember that the last Heljan model I got was the Virgin Trans Class 47, which I reviewed last year in December, which was a Christmas present, and I also got some Virgin Mach 2s to go with it, so that was a plus. I hate it when that boiler makes that noise. Must get it checked at. And there we go. Well, almost. Hang on, I don't need to undo that bit, I can just lift it out like that. Right, so I'll just dispose of that and turn the box round, because that's what I do. And now we can talk about the model. So today we are looking at... Oh, wrong box end. Fail. Here it is, the box with the info on. And so today we are looking at a Heljan Class 58. Now, I've been after one of these models for a long time now, but every chance I've had to get one of these has been thrown out of the window in some way, shape or form. The last opportunity I had to get one of these models was at the Severn Valley Railway's Spring Steam Gala at a trade stand in March. I didn't go for that model because the bogie frames were missing. The wheels, of course, were intact, but there was no bogie frames. And you can't really get them as spares, or at least you can't off eBay, and so I just didn't bother getting it, because, well, what good is a model without the bogie frames? No thank you. Not to me anyway, because it just won't look right, to be honest. And every other chance I've had to get one of these, I've either not got it because I was getting something else, or if I was saving up for one, it would sell out before I could get it. But not now. this one came off eBay. I saw it and I thought, right, this is my chance, I've got to get it. And so I put in the price I put in a price which was a lot of money, which you will see a screenshot I tweeted about it on Twitter that says, "You have won this item." Basically. Right, so we have 58050, which was the last loco to be built. Well, in real life it was. In terms of the model, it was not the last to be built. Or produced, rather. And although it doesn't say it on the box, it's in Mainline Blue livery, and it's called Toten Traction Depot, which is, I believe, where it was based in real life, until it was withdrawn from service. Now, I do remember seeing Class 58s a lot in my childhood days, in the 90s. They were either in Mainline Blue or coal sector, and they were either pulling MGR hoppers on the merry-go-round trains, or just general engineering trains, because they were used on that later on. I don't recall seeing them in the WNS livery, which you can get them in, but I just didn't want one in that livery. I decided to go for a livery that I would have seen in real life, because I didn't see them, as far as I know, in the WNS livery. It was either, like I said, coal sector or Mainline Blue. I think, personally, the Mainline Blue livery is quite smart. Mainline, of course, doesn't exist anymore. Somewhere in the early 2000s, the livery disappeared completely. Right, so the Class 58, bit of a brief history. If you want the full history, then look on the internet. So I built in Brell at Doncaster Works between 1983 and 1987, and like I said, 50 of them were built. And they were nicknamed Bones because of the design. They were withdrawn in 2002 after 20 years in service, and they were the first to follow the American practice of modularisation. As for the Spanish Class 58s, well, interestingly, they went to France for various engineering work duties. However, since 2012, they've been put into storage and left redundant. So what could happen to them is anybody's guess. They could go to other places for work, or they could come back over to the UK and then possibly put in further storage, which could happen because the 30s ones were sent back over to the UK, but then they went to other places afterwards. Not all of them, some of them did. So you never know. And there is a rumour, or there has been one going round, that Colas are interested in getting some Class 58s. So you never know. If that rumour turns out to be true, that would be good. Because we haven't seen any Class 58s now operating on UK metals for 14 years or so. And it will be good to see them again. The last time I saw Class 58 was in 2008, and that was at the Barry Hill Rail Power 2008 event, which you can find on YouTube, that I uploaded the same year, and you will see that 58 there. That was 58001 in Rail Freight Grey, and I do believe at the time it was preserved. However, they sent it abroad. Not sure why they did that. If it was preserved, I don't know if it was, because then we could have had two Class 58s in preservation. That said, I don't think that particular 58 worked. I don't know. But when 58016 is preserved, I do believe it will be doing work. I think it would be nice to return it to the main line, or seen on various heritage railways, because it would be nice to see one in service again, definitely. Which I think it would be fantastic. So it's probably best that, I suppose, that we have one preserved rather than none. But you never know, some others could get preserved later on, you never know. Right, well anyway, I've blabbered on long enough, let's get it open. So it's the usual, well, I can't say usual now because this is the old style Heljan packaging. Heljan no longer use this box because they have since replaced it with the all style plastic packaging that Hornby and Batman are also using. So they're no longer using this foam packaging or this box. But it's quite tough, to be honest, and you could stamp up and down on this and it wouldn't get squashed out of shape. but then again you might end up hurting yourself doing so. I'm not sure if it'll be strong enough now dropping it from a great height. I wouldn't want to do it. Never. But it is quite tough though. Probably one of the hardest boxes you're ever going to get, or probably the hardest. So there's the lid. Then we have the usual Heljan paper instructions, and I'm just glad they're not the horrible glossy ones, because I don't like those ones, because well, they're just nasty. These will get holes punched into them though, to put my folder later on. So it's basically how to fit a chip, fitting the details, though I think they may already be fitted. And this is just the body assembly and parts and all that like. And then of course on the front you get thank you for your purchase. And then at the back you get the information about the Class 58 in real life. And you get the tops dialogue there, which is printed on the locomotives. It basically tells you about the maximum speed, which was 80 miles per hour, the output, the transmission, the engine, the wheel arrangement, which was Coco, where it was built, numbers built, of course its designation, which was called Class 58, and the locomotive history. So that's about it, to be honest. So I'll get those put to one side. Then we have the foam cover. Well, there seems to be a bag there of some sort. Oh wow. There she is. So I'll get rid of that foam cover. And this is probably where the polystyrene packaging has an advantage. Yeah, it was not very good, but it would probably protect the locomotive more than foam. But that's just me. But wow, look at that. I mean, even in the box it feels quite heavy. But just look at that. Just look at how smart that looks. Yeah, and I can definitely see the detailing has already been added. So we don't really need to bother about putting it on. Well, or at least you don't have to get any in here that you have to put on yourself, because it saves you a job. Right, so all we need to do now is just lift it out using this polystyrene bag thing. And hold it. I'll just take my phone out the box, because I took a picture of this lining the box off camera. I won't throw the box away. I never do the locomotive boxes. I always keep them. With rolling stock boxes I throw them, but with these I keep them. But then again, why do you want to throw it away anyway? Right, well the camera's now been moved closer. So just take this plastic wrapper off. Do excuse any background noise you can hear. So I'll get rid of this. Well, I won't get it away like I'll throw it in the bin. We'll put it with the packaging in the box, because that is quite useful. It's definitely better to wrap locomotives in than tissue paper. I mean, I don't really like the tissue paper anyway, because it's dreadful, in my opinion. But anyway, let's have a look at the model. Wow. Well, you can just see how stunning this is. I mean, really. This is one incredible model. I got rid of both my Hornby models to replace it with one of these Heljan models, and I'm glad I have, because the Heljan one, it's just so much more superior than the Hornby one. I mean, the Hornby model was quite basic, and it was nowhere near as heavy as this, and it wasn't even that powerful, to be honest. I mean, I've yet to run this model, but just look at that. I mean, even though I've only gone as far as looking at it in detail, she is amazing. I mean, she's such a beauty. Where do we begin? Well, for starters, I know where we can begin is the waist. Already spoke about it before, but she's quite heavy. So she's going to have no problems pulling a long train, because it's not designed to take traction tyres, which it doesn't have. The Hornby models didn't really have traction tyres either, but this one definitely doesn't need them. The bogies, there's nice detail on them. You've got the axle boxes and springs. The fuel tank is very nicely detailed, as you can see. And of course there's the other bogie. And regardless, nothing's painted on them, but you can do that yourself, so it's not really a problem. But then again, they weren't really painted in real life anyway, to be honest. So there you are. There's the frame. There, as you can see, which is also nicely detailed. You've also got handrails as well, which has been put on. And that was using engineering plastic. Because on the Hornby ones, they were moulded. They weren't put on separately like these. But do be careful because they're fragile. There's the running number, 58050, crisply printed on the side. And there's the shed plaque for Didcot, because it's got the power station on. There's the Topps dialogue there, as you can see. And there's glazing in the cab windows with proper wipers on them, and they're not moulded like the Hornby ones was. There is detailing in the cab, but it's not painted. But we'll let that go. At least it's there. And at least it's not basic. It's not painted, but you could do it yourself, so it's not really a problem. Again, you got another separately put on handrail around the front there, which is painted white, which stands out. You got warning signs on the front there to tell you about overhead wires. They don't use overhead, but they carry them in real life. The running numbers printed on the front there as well. You do get working lights. I haven't ran this yet, but I've seen other videos of them in action, and they do have working lights. So that's brilliant, because the Hornby ones definitely didn't have them. And that's the jumper cables, which basically, in order to double head one of these, it wouldn't work in the model, but in real life it would. You'd connect this to the other loco, so they could be controlled from one. The buffers are sprung, which, although I don't have much care for them, at least it makes people happy about having sprung buffers, if you take what I mean. They are made of plastic, but that's not really a problem. You could paint them though, or weather them and rust them up. I won't be doing that, but you always could, so make them look a bit more realistic. The detail on the buffer beam is a little bit basic, but it's not going to really be that noticeable anyway when it's pulling a train. This is the end that has been detailed. It's got a chain link coupling on and vacuum pipes. However, it's been put at the end where the fans are, which I don't normally which I don't normally run the models in. I usually make this end the front. So what I might do is swap the coupling round, put it in this end, pull out the detail and glue them on the other end. Because I'm a bit crackers. But you can do that. If I can take the detail out, I'm sure I can. If not, I'll just leave it. But it's in there though. And in terms of the chain link coupling, well, it's more of a proper dangle to it, if you know what I mean. Because unlike the Hornby ones, it doesn't really dangle as much. Well, it does dangle, but like it doesn't move about like a proper one. Like only this bit at the bottom moves on the Hornby ones. Like it's not as loose basically, if that's what you would call it. But with this it looks like a more realistic one. If what I'm saying makes any sense. But there you are. But you know what I mean when I say that. And this is where it gets the nickname bone from, because it's thin in the middle and you have these cabs that stick out so it looks like a dog bone. So that's for those that were wondering why it would nickname bones. You've got some nice rivets on the top of the cab there. That's the panel there where with the exhaust as well, where the clad comes out of. You could weather it if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. Then there's grills at the top with fans underneath which don't spin, but that's Hornby's thing. So I'll let that go. The grills are very nice and they have a nice texture feel to them. And then these are all the panels that opened up to the engine. They don't open up to the model in real life because you'd see the mechanism, but there you go. I do like the orange stripe that goes along the top of the body there. That's really nice. And I just love the silver stripe. That just stands out. And the Mainline logo. It's accurate. Then there's the nameplates. Tote and traction depot. You don't get extra ones with this, but you could find some if you wanted to and put them on. But I'm not going to bother, because the printed ones are alright. As long as they're not like transfers like they do in the Hornby Class 58s that peel off. then I'm fine with that. But the livery is so nice. It's such a beauty. It's definitely one of the smartest liveries the Class 58's ever carried, in my opinion. There's the other end, which actually does have a little bit of detailing on it at the front, as you can see. The detailing's the same. We've got the coupling in that end, which I'll take out, because there is an M socket in there, which is nice. Spun buffers, of course, because I think that'd be a big complaint if the front ones were and the rear ones weren't. The same details at the front. You've got the working lights, separately put on handrail, the jumper cables and the warning signs, and the glazing with the cab windows in. I mean, it's funny in real life that because it was built in modular and the bits are built separately, there would be a single cab version possible. Or at least it would have made one possible, but they never built them with single cabs in reality. But I'm glad they didn't, because it would look odd then. So I'm glad they had the both cabs, because they look much better. The bogie detail is the same on both sides, of course, with of course the footsteps, so they won't be able to climb up onto the cab. Separately put on handrails, as you can see, glazing in the doors, in the windows, and there's a door handle there, which is nice. Or the engine panels, again accurate logo and lining and livery application, with the running number as well again. And you get rivets on the frame there as well, as you can see. If there are any grubby marks, I'll wipe them off later. So ignore those. Again, nice textured grills, which is very nice, and they're painted blue as well, which is very nice. And it's accurate as well, because the blue grills were blue on the real ones. And you do get handrails as well. They are made of plastic. They're not made of metal, but they're there, and they're nice enough to have. Wow. So all in all, I think it's a fantastic model. So let's get it on the tracks to see it running. Although I did say I was going to swap the coupling in the other end, didn't I, in the detail. So we'll attend to that. Right, well, the body has been removed off the chassis, as you can see. Now, there is a good reason for this, because there are problems I've had, which I'll talk over. The first problem is, well, first of all, I just want to explain, if you're wondering where the bogie frames and the fuel tank is, they're designed to be removable, but you can put them back on after. In the case of the fuel tank, it removes in two pieces, but I used the polycement and glued them together, so it's just the one piece. But the bogie frames, well, in the case of the fuel tank, as you can see, there are two holes. That's where it fits into. Here are some like little clips, or stubs if you will rather, that they fit onto. That is the reason why it looks a bit weird right now. Then again, with the body on, it would look weird without the fuel tank and the bogies on, but that'll be put back on later. But problems I've had, well, first of all, there was a wire disconnected, which we discovered after we removed the body off the chassis. The reason why I removed the body from the chassis is because I said in the review I was going to take out this coupling at the back and fit it to the other end. But what I didn't notice before until afterwards, upon closer inspection, there is no M socket at this end of the chassis, which is weird. Obviously the previous owner has somehow managed to remove it. I don't know how he did it, but that's what he did. And so I had to take the body off, which there's no screws to this, it just clips off, in order to turn the body round and fit it onto the chassis. But then the body wouldn't fit on the chassis properly. As for the case of the wire, that was disconnected on this side. In fact, it's that wire there, which made its running performance unreliable. So we soldered it back on, and now it runs a lot better, and how it's supposed to. But in the case of the body, it just wouldn't fix back on properly on the chassis. And that is because, and it's quite shocking really, the circuit board is the wrong one, because this is not the correct circuit board at all for the Class 58. This is one that has been used in the Class 47s and the Class 52s. So, for some reason that's unknown to me, it has the wrong circuit board in it. So I have ordered the proper one, the replacement, which is on its way in the post, and so until then, well, I can't really do anything with this model. I don't know why the circuit board was replaced. Maybe the original one was fried out or something, I don't know, and I can't really say. Well, it doesn't really fit properly. I mean, these bits here, for one, they stick out, and it's not really a very good fit either, because you can see clearly it doesn't fit. So, I mean, the circuit boards for the Class 58s, they're a lot smaller than this, but they're not as long like that. And they don't have these bits that stick out at all. But yeah, that's just to talk over that, because I thought I'd show you that in the video. But there are photographs on Twitter, to be honest. Well, for those that follow me on Twitter will see them. For the benefit of those that aren't, then this is what I'm showing you in the video. So, I'll have to wait until the replacement circuit board comes. Not a good start to my experience with the Heljan 58. Right, well, it's now the next day of when you saw me talking about why the body has been taken off. However, and this is quick delivery service, I did not expect it to arrive the next day. The replacement and correct circuit board has arrived. Now, just look at how small that is. It's the correct one, I can tell you, because I can prove it. Because this has just come as well. Let's tell you Heljan Class 58 PCB, which is circuit board. So now we're going to take the one that's not correct, and we're going to fit the right one in. And I will film this and put it in this video. Okay, so let's not waste any time and let's get it done.
Sorry? And the other end. Hang on, there's a double here, I think.
way the circuit board's got to go up that way.
Pardon?
The way the bit with the circuit board on the top's got to go up that way, facing upwards.
No, I don't think so. I'll show you in a well. I think it just rests on there. Let's see if it's there, so. Anyway. Well, you've got to get that way, Pete, so I presume it slides into there.
There we are.
Just connect this up now. So take that out to the car. Right, ready to run and see if it works.
Oh, I need to get some sellotape to put it on there. I don't know.
It's not connected up, is it?
Right, so now I just have to stick the body on.
Got it?
Like that. Yeah, okay. The body fits on much better now. Right, Right, we've seen the circuit board being replaced and the body being put back on. Now I'm going to put back on the fuel tank and the bogie frames. Now I said before, they're designed to be removable. So we'll start with the fuel tank first. And it has to go a specific way. What we do is just clip it into them holes under there. But like I said, it has to go a specific way. So the fuel tank's now back on. So I've got to put the bogie frames on. Now again, these have got to go a specific way. Look, that one has to go there. Like that. Crumbs, I nearly put that one upside down then. That's curious, the fuel tank doesn't seem to want to fit in well. I'll have to put that in later. So there we are. Because the real Class 58 was designed to be modular. You know, this is kind of modular. Because the bogies and the fuel tank are designed to be removable and put back on separately. If you take what I mean. Right, so now well, that's the wrong way. That's what I mean by the Pacific way. There has to be enough clearance so the bogie can manoeuvre. And there we are, it just clips back in. And so there we have it. Well, I've not finished the review, but there we have it. The Class 58 is now sorted. The proper circuit board is in place, the fuel tank's back on, and so are the bogie frames. And the bogies are much better fit this time. Much better. It's a perfect fit, I should say, actually, definitely, compared to what it was like before. But wow, what a beast. Can't wait to run her. I won't mark it down for what's happened, you know, the problems with the circuit board, because it was second hand. So, you know, it wasn't something that was done by the manufacturer. It was the owner, basically. Which I can say that because that is the case, definitely. The only thing that's missing now is MGR hoppers. I haven't got any at this point, so I will have to get some. So, watch this space. So, in this video, she won't be pulling MGR hoppers. But that's fine by me for the time being. But wow. Really am pleased I got hold, finally, of one of these Heljan 58s. And in a smart blue livery as well. Because the blue's just so stunning. And like I say, I think the Mainline livery is one of the smartest liveries that the Class 58 has worn. In real life and on the model. Wow. She's stunning. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to, well, there's only one thing left to do really. Let's put it on the tracks and see how she runs. Right, so now we're going to run the 58 on this line. Sorry for that then. She's on. Right, so all that's left to do really is to give her a run. Give her a wiggle. Oh yes. Look how smooth that is. Well, there's a tiny bit of hair on the bogey then. Well, that is running really smoothly. There's no grinding noises for the mechanism or the motor, or stalling on dirty track, but it shouldn't do because I only cleaned the track the other day. And so those are the working lights at the front that light up white coming towards you. Those two lights there. And at the back, it's those two lights there that light up red, in which the camera is picking it up better than how I can see it to the human eye. But anyway, so there goes past the yard where there's wagons, past the signal box, and through the station where all the passengers are amazed at the sight of a Class 58 we're in on the rails. Because they haven't really run in recent years. Past the shed that's got nothing in there, passing the street with the street lamps on, and I want to show you one quick thing. All the cars are back on the road because I have actually took them off to put these lights on. If I just flick this switch, look at that. Now, I don't usually put them on in the day because they would look better in evening and night shots, but they are working street lights, and all of them light up, and those ones there are also going to work. They're not wired up yet, but they will be, and they'll work as well. Which looks rather good, in my opinion. So I'll turn them off. Class 58 is coming back round. From here are the aeroplanes here, stealth bomber, the P-47D in the down necker insignia scheme. Come on, focus. Do excuse the background noise. There you are. I just love their insignia. And then there's the other one in that scheme. And then goes the 58 again. Things of how much I'm talking about all this other stuff on the layout. So there goes the 58 under the bridge and under the tunnel. This is a new shop, by the way. And she goes back under the station and under the footbridge and past the seaside that still needs some people on and detailing, but I'll be doing that later. Okay, so now we're going to get her pulling a train, and we're going to be using this rake of CK wagons and also those three there. Please do excuse the music in the background. Can't help that, not my problem. I suppose it makes it a bit groovy if you can hear it. Just get a dance while I was watching this video. No, let's be more sensible about it. But so what we're going to do is we're going to do something very different. We're actually going to get the 58 to shunt these wagons out of this siding, put them up on the main line, and get those wagons out, those three there, and put them on the front of the siding. So I mean on the front of this wagon here. Why? Because I am. I know somebody's thinking, oh, you don't use a 58 for shunting. Well, actually, you can do it for that. Because, you know, I've seen 66s and 37s shunt, so why not a 58? Besides, it's not going to be permanently used for it. There will still be point motors put in later. Oh, wrong way. I really can't be bothered to take separate shots like I normally would do. Question is, will that wagon at the front derail? Oh no, it hasn't. You know, I have shunted that wagon round before and it has derailed, but it hasn't done it this time. Well, when it's had a shunt at the front, it has derailed. For some reason now they've got a 58 on, it hasn't derailed. Okay, so now we have a nice long rake. The other wagons are hidden in the tunnel. It is a very different rake, because it's got civil engineers wagons. But, you know, it was either going to be this or the oil tankers, the Shell ones. And I don't recall a time when a 58 actually hauled any tanker wagons. So I'm using this, but you know, this is a close enough typical train, because like, when they went into service with Mainline and EWS, or EW&S I should say, when it was known back then, they did pull engineering trains. So you know, this is a typical engineering train for it to pull. But anyway, let's get it going. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at her go. Now she's coping really well with them wagons. I mean, in total it's a 10 rake long train. I should point out though, those three wagons at the front, they're all hand painted by me. Especially because that wagon right there never appeared in this livery, so it's a more fixturous type. But I'm definitely going to have to get some more modern wagons now. The dogfish wagons are definitely coming, the MGRs of course, the 100-ton tankers, and I'm possibly considering some car carrying trains, or wagons I should say rather, get it right, and possibly those EWS bra wagons, the ones that are used for carrying the steel in. But you know, this rack still looks very good. Never thought I'd couple up these wagons up to a different livery loco that's not in the civil engineer's livery. But I think that looks really good, in my opinion. But yeah, she's strong. So if she can cope with 10 wagons, then she should easily be able to cope enough with a fairly long train of NGR wagons. I think I'm going to be going for a 9 rake, to be honest. But you never know, but when I do definitely see them, I will get some. But you'll have to wait for that. But in the meantime, in this review, just enjoy the 58 running around the layout with these. on to sum her up then. She's brilliant. The only criticism I have are those bulgy parts there. Let's get rid of that glue tube. Let's be more professional about it. So the only criticism I'll have of those bulgy parts are the fact that they are removable, because they can cause a bit of trouble of derailing if they're not put on correctly. But other than that, she's a brilliant model, and I recommend you get one if you can get hold of one, and if so, get it, because they are just superb. There's not much more else to say really. Definitely pleased I got one of these.